Hi, welcome to the Star Trek New Voyages website, and here we're doing an interview at FedCon in Cologne, Germany. Now, obviously there are other fan films groups out there, and here at FedCon, Star Trek Armada was also being shown. Dark Armada. So it was obviously a dark production, and although I understand they use a lot of green screen and borrow some of our sets, but that's okay. And I'd like to introduce Robin from Dark Armada to talk about his project.
Yeah, thank you, Peter. So what do you want to know?
So what I want to know. So when did you start Dark Armada?
Well, we started Dark Armada in 2005. That's right after
we
Voyages,
started, yeah, that's right.
Because New Voyages and other groups like Hidden Frontier were an inspiration to make this happen in the Netherlands. And nothing was being done in the Netherlands or Belgium or anywhere close. So that's why we decided to start up a fan film production in the Netherlands. And we used a fan fiction story that I wrote years earlier, and that became the Dark Armada series.
Oh, so you actually wrote your own scripts?
I write pretty much all the scripts, yeah.
Okay, now you do the production in English?
Yes, we do.
So obviously our fans who probably don't speak Dutch will still be able to enjoy your productions?
Yeah, of course.
Now, do you have them subtitled as well in English, German, French, and whatever?
We try to do as many subtitles as possible, yeah.
Okay, so which languages are you supporting?
Well, mostly Dutch, English, and German, but sometimes we have a Spanish guy doing translations or Portuguese. We try to do as many as we can, and if anyone wants to do subtitling, they're very welcome to do so. Yeah.
How many episodes have you produced so far?
We have made 8 episodes. And episode number 8 is our final episode of Dark Armada.
Right.
So that's the end of Dark Armada after about 12 years of production. And we're now starting a new series. It's called Star Trek Batavia, which we're now in pre-production.
Okay.
So that will probably go into production later this year, and we'll start having the first little episodes by next year.
So that's a different ship?
It's the same ship.
Same ship?
Yeah, you'll have to watch Out of Time to understand.
Right.
So basically we blow up the old ship and we replace it with a new ship. But it's a time thing, it's a temporal thing.
It's a temporal thing?
Yeah.
So in other words, you go back in time and use the ship from earlier?
Maybe you could see it as a reboot of the show.
Okay, okay.
But there's a temporal thing to explain it. So.
Okay, so you've done a JJ thing?
Kinda, yeah.
So you get lens flare effects in it as well? Or?
Actually, a little bit.
Yeah.
There's some 3D scenes where we just added in a little lens flare from the spots coming from the ceiling.
Right.
So I thought it'd be funny to do a little bit of JJ in there.
Okay. Now, from what I've seen of Dark Armada, it is looking pretty impressive. But as I understand it, you have very little standing sets. It's a few chairs or whatever, and the rest is green screen.
Well, no chairs. We use little, how do you call them? At the bar you have when you sit at the bar you have I'm not sure what's the English word. A bar seat.
A bar stool, yeah.
Yeah, kind of like that. No back. So that's what we use to film, and everything else is added in later. So even the chairs you see in the show are CGI.
So if you go press the button and say, "Hi Scotty,"
everything is CGI. And we try to make it as realistic as possible. So sometimes the chair moves a little bit with the person to assume that it's actually a chair, but it's not. It's just CGI. So. Okay,
so are you the chairperson of this production?
I'm the creator, and I do some of the editing as well.
Yes.
We have a big team. We have about 10 to 15 people working on it. I do part of the After Effects as well, but I have a lot of other people working on this production who are much better at editing and special effects than I am.
So how do you create the special effects? Do you have specialists for this? Do you use special software? Or?
We use some of the software that's available for consumers. We use a program called HitFilm for replacing the green background with CGI. The CGI is rendered in 3ds Max. And some of the people on our team are professionals in the TV industry. Actually, just one or two, and they have some real-time experience with
green screen
and 3D stuff.
Oh, very, very interesting. So you do a lot of preparation work for the scripts. You have to you obviously learn your lines, or can you read it when you're off a teleprompter? How does that?
Yeah, we practice. We have since a few years we have an acting coach.
Right.
Because one of the things about Dark Armada is the acting was not always as good. It gets better,
yes.
And that's because of the acting coach we have right now. And she helps the actors practice their lines because they're Dutch and the lines are in English.
Yes.
So it's kind of, they have to translate it for themselves so that it sounds natural. So that's an extra step we have to take to make this film. So yeah, it's a lot of practice and learning how to act, and then it's put on the screen.
I know. I mean, as a British person, when I watch your production, obviously I hear the Dutch accents.
Of course, yeah.
You know, so people do not normally associate space travel with the Dutch for some reason. So, you know, with windmills and
we have
things.
Dutch astronauts.
You have Dutch astronauts. That's right. And but I find it really good that we're getting groups outside the USA doing this. You also have the team in Scotland who create their own productions, and yourselves, and in Germany we have the Enterprise Fan-Film, which is actually done with action figures.
Yeah,
it's very, very hard work, but also very good. And I think it is great to see this happening. But of course, the question is, how is the CBS-Guidelines affecting your production?
That's an interesting question. I get that question a lot, actually.
Yes, I know.
Well, of course, Dark Armada has always used certain rules for our production, so we never made any money from it. We try to make clear to the audience that it's just a fan film and not an actual production.
Yeah.
So those things are very clear, and so if you follow those rules, you don't get into trouble. That's how we've always worked.
Yes.
Kind of like how the Voyager took it in.
Absolutely, but the new guidelines restrict episodes to 30 minutes, or rather 2 times 15 minutes.
That's right. We cannot follow every rule on every guideline on the list, obviously. But all of them are fine, except the first one, which says you can only make 2 films of about 15 minutes.
And all have to be amateurs.
And all have to be amateurs.
Or at least not involved in any official Star Trek production.
Of course. Well, none of us are. So,
unlike New Voyages, where probably half the team has worked on official new Star Trek at some time or event.
Exactly. Well, the only rule we're breaking is the first one, and the rest is all fine for us.
Right.
But we don't think that rule number 1 is enough to take us down or sue us.
So you have no profanity or no violence or no Klingon swearing in Klingon?
Not really. It's pretty nice. It's not so...
Yeah? Because I thought that particular rule is like, have these people not watched Star Trek? I mean, Star Trek is full of these events which they're saying are not allowed, you know? I mean, the official Star Trek has broken every rule on that list, including nudity and everything,
Yeah, well, I listened to the podcast that CBS official gave after the rules.
Yes.
If you listen very closely, it's what they think is important is the intent of a fan film or a fan film producer. And our intent has always been to make this fan film as a group of friends who love Star Trek, and to bring it to the rest of the fans for free, so they can enjoy it, and nothing more. So that is our intent. And whether it's 15 minutes or 20 or 30 or an hour, that doesn't make any difference for the intent of our production, right?
Yes.
So that's how we view the guidelines. They're guidelines, they're not rules. getting soon.
That's right. I mean, at New Voyages, we're constantly getting the question about why these guidelines are so bad for us. You know, we've made short episodes before, but well, that's not only one rule. I say that our problem is a lot with the actors and behind the scenes team who have worked on Star Trek. That also prevents us working on new episodes. We've moved on in that James Corley has opened the studio now as an official Star Trek tour and is therefore a CBS license holder. So he obviously has to respect the CBS license and not do anything which would be a breach of any guidelines or rules, and we fully understand that, and that's the reason why we have to cease production. And we are doing other things. We've just released a series of 5 ebooks which are Star Trek Phase 2 themed, and it's very interesting because they're set between individual episodes. So if you go to StarTrekNewVoyages.de/novels or stnv.de/novels, then you can find those ebooks and you can download them free of charge, of course. So what are your plans for the future? Apart from what Batavia you just said, is that going to be another multi-part episode story, or?
Batavia is going to be the next series, yeah. We're going to do something new. So Dark Armada has been always, we've always made episodes that are longer than 15 minutes or somewhere in between 15 and 30 minutes.
Yes.
But with Batavia we want to take on a new approach and create episodes that are smaller,
right.
To keep the audience interested and to be able to produce a little quicker, because in the past we've been producing episodes perhaps one every year.
Yeah.
So that's it's a long wait for fans to be involved in the show and wait another year and
that's
get the
been
next
our problem
episode.
as well, yes.
Yeah, so we decided to cut it into small pieces of, for example, 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And make an entire series out of it. And release it quicker after each other, so that the audience can enjoy a little episode every 2 months, for example.
So how do you finance this? Do you do crowdfunding, or do you finance it yourselves, or?
We finance it completely ourselves, yeah.
Okay.
We do no funding of any kind.
No funding?
And that has always been the idea of Dark Armada, to never receive any money outside of our own team. Because it's copyrighted work, Star Trek. Yes. We respect Star Trek, we love Star Trek, that's why we do this. So we do not think it's right to get any money from the Star Trek fan community.
Okay.
Right? So that has always been our main thing, to not receive anything from outside.
Now, Renegades have gone another way in that they just dropped the name Star Trek, dropped all Star Trek elements out of their film, and then just call themselves Renegades, and it's not a Star Trek production, which frees them from all guidelines or whatever. They can do what they like, then it's their own IP. Have you ever thought of going that way?
We did, but yeah, we love Star Trek, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of our team, a lot of our crew and cast love it as well. The minute we change it, it becomes something else. It becomes a different kind of production. Perhaps something that can be used to earn some kind of money.
Yeah.
So then it becomes something else besides a fan show. And we want to keep this true to the first idea of the fan film that we had, the fan production.
Now, Renegades was shown here at the convention, and I watched it, and it was very Star Trek-y in design and things.
I must admit that I've missed it.
You missed it. I saw it. And what they did is, instead of saying the Federation, they then said the Confederation.
Yeah.
And the costumes looked very Star Trek-y, although the design were not identical. So they just had like a V shaped instead of something like this.
Yeah.
But you know, so you still have the feeling of watching Star Trek, although it wasn't Star Trek. And you know, the whole design was very Star Trek-y. It just wasn't Star Trek by name.
And maybe does it feel a little bit off because of that? Because it's almost Star Trek, but it's not quite so.
Well, the strange thing is, because part 1 was Star Trek,
yeah,
and part 2 is not Star Trek, but all the actors you know from Star Trek, or most of them, you know, you had
still
Tim,
have the same character names?
Tim Russ, Walter. Well, yeah, for example...
Chekhov is still Chekhov?
Yeah, Chekhov is still, but he's just... No, he's not Chekhov. He's Pavel Anton. Instead of Pavel Anton Chekhov, he's now Pavel Anton.
Right.
So they leave the word Chekhov out of it.
Chekhov was copyrighted or something.
Yeah, so he's just called Pavel, yeah?
Yeah.
Or Pavel Anton or whatever. So they basically just left off the surnames and just used their first names. And obviously we knew the actors, Tim Russ we know, and Walter Koenig, so it was full of Star Trek actors who just were not in a Star Trek production. Very interesting to watch, very worth looking. So if you have an opportunity to look at the latest Renegades film, do look at it online. I'm sure I'll be putting the address on the bottom of the screen right now.
I will watch it too. You should watch it.
That's right. But of course you have to watch Dark Armada.
That's right.
A very interesting production. It's in English, so it's not a language thing. You just need to get used to the different accents. And
it gets better as you go along the episodes.
Okay.
A lot of actors improve their performance if you look at them from episode 1 to episode 8. So you see how the show progresses, both in acting, special effects, storylines. You see the show grow.
That's right. Now you work behind a green screen, but it does look very good. It wasn't noticeable, the green screen, very much. But it must restrict you in your movements because you can't interact with your environment so well.
That's right. Yeah, it does. There's not much to say about that.
Yeah.
We have some ideas to fix that, and that is to use part set, part green screen.
Yeah.
So we are working on that for the series Batavia, to have some of the set pieces there, so people can interact with them. So that's something that we're working on, and that's still a bit experimental to get the set to look right in the CGI scene. So
are you known mainly in the Netherlands, or are you more internationally? Where do your viewers come from?
Most of our viewers come from the United States. Star Trek is not as big in the Netherlands. Science fiction is not very big in the Netherlands, so we try to do a lot of conventions there, Comic-Cons, fantasy fairs, but it doesn't help our viewers, our viewing numbers very much. So most of our views still come from the United States.
And I can confirm that for Star Trek New Voyages. I run the website for Star Trek New Voyages, and we do look at the viewing figures to see where people come from, and it is at least 80% of our visitors come from the USA, and the rest of the world is the other 20%. We get a lot of people from Portugal as well, so if you're watching from Portugal, hi there from New Voyages in Germany.
And make sure you watch Dark Armada as well.
So watch So thanks a lot, Robin. It's very interesting talking to you, and live long and prosper.
Yeah, live long and prosper.
So this is Peter Walker signing out for Star Trek New Voyages. Thank you.